going? Jeff Johnson from the Cedar Rapids Gazette here with my cohort, Jeff Linder, and we are here to call it both ways. Boys and girls basketball is the main topic. We thought, or we hoped, we would be able to talk a little football as well because the Iowa High School Athletic Association's Board of Control was scheduled to meet today, this morning, this afternoon, whenever, to hash out what they're going to do football-wise as far as playoffs. Is it status quo? Is there expanded field? Is there a fifth class? But thus far, they must still be meeting as we tape this. So if something happens while we're still chatting here, then we'll have breaking news, Jeff.
Oh boy,
breaking news. So. In lieu of that, we'll just stick to hoops right now. Jeff, let's start out with the Marion Indians. How about that? What a great story.
Stories.
That's correct. Everybody knows how good the girls program has been here in the last number of years. New coach this season. One of the assistants for the girls program, Pete Messerly, has taken over at the boys program. Both the boys and the girls are currently ranked second in the state in their respective classes. So I guess what we can conclude from this is they know how to hoop on the south side, right?
I think it says that Pete Messerly is a pretty good common denominator for success.
Yes. But that's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah.
For both teams, both programs to be ranked so highly. And what's the Marion girls' record?
11-0.
11-0.
They've only really been tested once. Makokata had them in a little bit of trouble just before Christmas. I think Marion was down a point going to the fourth quarter, and they won by 12. But that's the only time they've been tested. It's going to get tougher for them, though, the rest of the way a little bit. They've got Cedar Rapids Kennedy on Saturday. Kennedy's a pretty good 5A team, and then they still got home and away against DeWitt Central. They host Center Point Urbana on February 1st, and then they conclude their regular season with Iowa City West on February 15th. So they've got, and they play Makokut at home yet too. So they've got 5 or 6 pretty good opponents from here on out in the regular season.
You did a story in the Gazette at thegazette.com.
Yep.
On the girls, and Josh Claypool is the first year head coach.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about his background?
Yeah, he was an assistant for Corby Lobby for 7 years, and hasn't changed a whole lot, but kind of put his own stamp on some things, tweaked a few little things. But they've got veterans in Cable Lobby and Ella Van Welden and Riley Wright. So that's 3 cornerstones, 3 Division I kids. Sadie Struken's really made some progress and become a pretty good fourth wheel, averaging about 10 points a game. And then they've got some pretty decent pieces around that.
I want to say hi to Ella's dad, Brian. I know you're a faithful listener, Brian. So we're old softball teammates. So
all right,
that's where she gets the athleticism. It's not from her dad. Let's put it that way.
From slow pitch softball.
Yes, slow pitch softball. Hey, it takes a good amount of athleticism to play slow pitch softball, man. Trust me.
I believe you.
No, actually, Brian was a good high school basketball player. His dad was a coach in the state of Illinois, a long-time coach. So that's where they get the basketball genes come from, I guess. So on the boys' side, Class 3A is such a zoo, such a mess. Everything changed from last week's poll to this week's as far as position.
Who's number 1?
Norwalk is now number 1.
Were they 8 last week?
Yeah. Marion was 10th and now moved up to 2nd.
Chaos.
3 teams fell out, 3 new teams in. Just seemed like everybody lost last week at some point, almost. But the Marion boys are 11-1, and you talked about Pete Messerly, who's got the Messerlys are a Marion family, obviously, with Dad Dave being a longtime coach out there. And is he still helping out with the girls?
He is. He is the JV coach, and he, like Josh said, didn't make the story, but he's been there for a century. And Obviously successful in football and been a big part of the girls' success the last few years as well.
And just a very good person.
Yes.
Very good person. So, Pete's apple doesn't fall far from the tree there. But, the Marion boys were at state tournament last year under Mike Manderscheid, who took over as the activities director out there this year. So, and they lost some players, but had some kids coming back, and they've got 4 guys that are averaging in double figures. So I mean, when you have something like that, that's probably going to win you a few games. Will Hendrickson leads the way, 16.1 points per game, and Connor Whalen 11.5. Gage Frank, Jaffer Murphy about 10 each. And then Brayson Lobby is kind of the freshman point guard. So he stepped in and done a nice job. And they had a great week last week when they beat Dyersville Beckman, one of the top 10 ranked teams in Class 2A on a last second shot by Murphy, and then followed up with a 4-point win over Mount Vernon, which is a top 10 team. So
it's a good week.
11-1 overall, the Indians are. And
who beat them?
Clear Creek Amana in a close game, 72-69, back in before Christmas, middle part of December. So it's a tough division. They're still going to have to work and fight. Right now, they're in first place, but there's capable teams in that division. In as we mentioned, Mount Vernon, Beckman, DeWitt Central is a tremendous team. So
is the Walmack pretty east heavy?
Very much so. Very much so. The West is really up for grabs right now. Center Point Urbana has a good team, and Clear Creek Amana has a good team, and Williamsburg, I think, is just kind of come out of nowhere and won, I think, 5 in a row and beat all the top contenders this go around in the schedule. They're a great story. They won 5 games last year. They won 7 already this year. So
okay.
The Raiders really getting it turned around. Is that the way it is on the girls' side too?
Not as much. The East has Marion and DeWitt, and Maquoketa is a nice team. The West has Center Point Urbana, which is still undefeated. Clear Creek Amana is back in the 4A rankings. They're, I believe, 11-3. Benton Community and Vinton Shellsburg are both very much improved from last year, and kind of they're probably the next best 2 teams. I'd say it's fairly balanced.
Is that how it is with the other on the girls' side when you look at like the other two division conferences? What are they? South Iowa Cedar and the Tri-Rivers.
The Tri-Rivers is so west heavy for the top 5 teams in the maybe it might be like 7 of the top 8 teams are in the West Division. So with Bellevue Marquette being the outlier. So, but yeah, South Iowa Cedar League, the West Division's a little bit better than the East. River Valley is fairly even.
I forgot about the River Valley. That's a big division.
There's good talent on both sides there. And the Upper Iowa Conference doesn't have divisions anymore, so that's kind of where it is with that. How about the boys?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. We had a big game in the Sickle the other night. Montezuma beat Keota by
that was a close game,
8 points. Yeah, 76-68. Wrote something on Keota's J.D. Stout last week, one of the state's top scorers, and Trey Shearer is also in that top 5, I think, in the state in scoring for Montezuma. So a couple of really good players. And
I saw a little bit of their game when I went out and covered their game before their girls' game against Sigourney, and they were very impressive.
Montezuma dropped out of the top spot this week and dropped down to 4th after an overtime loss to Albia. And Albia's only got 1 loss, so couldn't drop too far, or shouldn't have dropped too far, I guess. But looking at the rest of the boys' rankings real quick, in 1A we mentioned Montezuma in there at 4. Easton Valley is your number 1 team this week. Came into the week 11-0. They are the far and away the best team on the east side there in the Tri-Rivers. And
Coach Beck's still there, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He's been there a long time.
He has, back when they were the Preston Trojans.
He was there when I was in high school.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
I think quite a while before I was there.
He knows what he's doing, right?
Yes.
Preston always had good basketball, if I remember
Always
correctly.
had very good teams.
And then they joined with East Central.
That's Easton Valley.
In Class 2A, your number one team is West Sioux. Comanche was in there at second, Northland fourth, Dyersville Beckman sixth, and then a ninth place tie between Iowa City, Regina, and West Branch, which I didn't understand because West Branch has one less loss and just beat Regina. But I can only provide one.
You're
vote,
only one ballot.
3A Norwalk ended up being number one with Marion second, Davenport Assumption third. Then in 4A was Waukee, almost unanimous top selection. Waukee beat the heck out of Dowling, which was 10th ranked the other night. Waterloo West was second. Iowa City West was third. And saw that game. They played on Tuesday night. Iowa City West won by 21 points.
Didn't
I believe
expect
it was.
that, did you?
No, not at all. And the Trophy, Steve Bergman can coach, man. They don't have the best talent they've ever had there by far. They don't have much, if any, depth. They're not necessarily a real pretty team, as I wrote in the story. But they get down and they play good, solid man-to-man defense, and that's going to get you quite a ways, I think, when you can do that. So Trojans are a great team. Cedar Falls came in at fourth, Dubuque Hempstead fifth, and Hempstead was beaten twice already this week, including in overtime the other night by Cedar Rapids Kennedy, which was by far the best win for any of the Metro schools so far this season. So the Cougars certainly have kind of rebuilt things this year, and Caleb Schlake is a nice interior player at about 6'7" or so as a junior. So look out for the Cougars. And the boys pods are supposed to be released for the two smaller classes tomorrow, and then the following week would be for the big schools, and we get to find out who's matched up with who. How about the girls?
Girls are still a ways off. I think there's been kind of, I don't know, some of the coaches have kind of backloaded their schedule, knowing that the pairings would be released before those games were played, as far as non-conference games. So the union has gone ahead and decided we're not going to
no chicanery.
We're not coming out as early. So the 1A, 2A, 3A will be released either the 5th or 6th of February, and then 4A, 5A a week after that.
Will they have pairings with these?
They'll have pairings.
So the whole thing will be
everything will be drawn up.
Okay. And the boys are doing what the boys do. They decide who's with who, and then
the coaches decide.
Yep. Then the coaches get together and they have wrestle-offs and determine who's seated what.
Now, do they do that by phone or do they meet somewhere?
They usually try and meet somewhere in neutral.
It'd be fun to sit in on that.
Yeah, I've kind of put a bug out the last couple of years.
They don't like they don't want that.
Nobody's really said, yeah, Jeff, why don't you come in and sit with our meetings while we hash this all out.
Transparency would be good.
Apparently, a lot of the coaches do on the boys' side is the athletic director of the host meeting, or who's hosting the meeting, kind of gets a little bit of a pre-meeting straw poll going a little bit just to see what people are thinking going into the meeting a little bit, and then you debate, I guess, and I'm sure most of these guys didn't think that they would have to be big time debaters, so to speak, when they got into the coaching business. So we looked at our AP poll here on the boys' side. How about the girls' side? That's coming out today.
That just came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't
Actually,
you
just
divulge?
kind of typing it in as we talk. Not a lot of changes. All the postponements and stuff kind of put a little bit of a halt on that. 5A City High still number one after that overtime win over Cedar Falls on Tuesday. Johnson.
You were there.
I was there. It was a great basketball game.
Was it?
Very good basketball game, high level. Cedar Falls probably would have won if they wouldn't have gotten into some really deep foul trouble late. But Johnston 2, Dowling 3, Prairie 4. Prairie's 4. They're 12-0. Their resume probably should be a little higher.
What's Ken Palm got them ranked?
I don't know what Ken Palm has.
Okay.
BC Moore probably has them about where they're at too. But I think Prairie should be higher because they beat Cedar Falls. Cedar Falls beat Johnston, which is number 2. and I think Johnson beat Dowling, which is number 3. So just kind of that. What is it? The transverse rule.
Yeah. Transitive. Thanks, Nathan.
Okay. That to me that would put Prairie number 2, but they are number 4 and they're having a whale of a year. 4A, North Scott 1, Marion 2, like they've been all year. Center Point Urbana stays 3, Xavier 6. Nobody else in the area in the top 10. 3A, Dyke New Hartford still 1, Crestwood 2. Highest area team is West Liberty at 12, and that's been one of the neat stories of the year this year. We finally found out when West Liberty's last girls basketball winning season was. It was 90-91,
Okay.
So that's been 29 years. School record 15 wins that year. They've got 13 this year. They're probably going to break that. So they've really kind of jumped out of nowhere and had a really nice season. 2A, we've got a lot of good area teams. Cascade stays at number 1, West Hancock 2, Northland 3, MFL Marmac 5, West Branch 6, Macokota Valley 9. So the girls' union is going to have some interesting carving up to do on this side of the state there, and they will. 1A, Montezuma stays at number 1. Newell Fonda, defending state champ, is 2, and they're terrific. Bellevue Marquette 3. East Buck fell to 13. Central Acadia is in at 15.
So tomorrow night, we're taping this on Thursday. Tomorrow night, weather permitting, where are you gonna be? I guess
I will be at the Prairie Wash doubleheader.
Okay, Hall of Fame night over.
Hall of Fame night. Sorry you didn't make it this
side.
year. You or JJ or KJ or JR.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know what we got to do other than I guess we're gonna have to buy off votes or something. Maybe
You got mine.
Okay,
You got my
I
vote.
appreciate that. 26 team All-State baseball player. I can't believe it. I'm not in the Hall of Fame yet.
20
so.
what year?
26 team.
Oh.
I was a 26th
you
team
weren't.
All-State
You were better
outfielder
than that.
back in the day. So
What were you? Were you third team, second team?
I
All-State?
don't remember.
Was
To
that
be
by the
honest, second
coaches or
third.
by AP or INA or?
I think it was the High School Coaches Association.
Is that 84? 83?
84, a long time ago.
Did you play
Played in
center
the
field?
All-Star. Yeah. I weighed $150 back then, believe it or not.
You must have been speedy.
I was left-handed hitter, and I knew how to push a bunt down the third base line, and
You were like a slapper.
and run like hell.
Softball slap.
My game would be totally obsolete in today's baseball.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have much of a launch angle, and
Exit velocity wasn't.
exit velocity was minimal at best. So, but it was fun times. Played in the All-Star Series. I remember down at Dwayne Banks Field.
Did you play Legion ball too then?
No, actually, I did not.
Because that
I
was a
did
big
not.
thing then.
Yeah, and that was back when, back in the day when it was mostly during the high school season, but the Legion would play on weekends.
Okay.
So, they'd be off traveling around on Saturdays and Sundays and then come back and play high school ball. So, the fond memories. We used wooden bats, cloth hats, no batting helmets. Things like that. So, and I don't believe that we've ever really totally discussed your fine basketball career at Lincoln Community High School, Jeff.
Fine and basketball career were not used in the same sentence.
You were a varsity player, though, right?
I was a varsity player.
How many letters did you win?
In basketball?
Yeah.
Just one. One in basketball, 3 in track, 3 in cross country.
There you go. 6 man? Were you the point guard and just set everybody
Started as a senior on a team that went 1-18.
up? Oh. Who'd you beat?
Lisbon, buzzer beater.
Buzzer beater.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Let's see.
State track meet?
Nope. State cross country meet as a junior. Choked. Really, really choked.
Now, what do you mean by that? Just got out. You were way too hyper and got out too fast.
No,
and-
I was went out slow and stayed slow. Just didn't run well that day. Had a good district meet. Had an awful state meet. I don't know if it was a deal where we were just happy to be there or what.
You didn't taper properly, apparently.
It didn't run worth a darn. So.
So anyway, yeah, that's Hall of Fame night at Wash tomorrow night. Boys, girls first, boys first.
I think girls first.
Okay.
6.
Because I see that some conferences have.
Yeah, Upper Iowa Conference is doing that for about 2 weeks that they're playing
I like
first.
that.
I do too.
And then the Hawkettes this
I
weekend.
got the Iowa women tonight, and I've got the Iowa women on Sunday, and that's Sunday will be a big crowd. Megan Gustafson will have her jersey retired. She'll be back. As of yesterday, there were 5,500 seats available left. So do the math.
Are they raising the curtain?
I would think so. I think so. If the math would say that 9,500 have been sold. So, and I'm sure that number's going to continue to rise. I think they'll have between 10 and 12,000 for that.
Wow, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
they're playing some tremendous basketball.
They've been a Houdini act the last 3 games. They've come back from 14, 15, and 17 back, and they're not going to get away with that tonight. If they get behind by that tonight, they're going to be in trouble.
How was Williams Arena?
Varnish. I like it.
Yeah.
Have you been
character.
up there?
Yeah, it's got some character.
I like it. I like it because the wireless was good.
Back in the day when I was doing Iowa hoops, the media was actually seated right around the court. So
we're way up high.
It was weird having to look up to watch a game.
I was definitely looking down. I was third row from the top in the.
Any hoot owls or anything up there that pestered you guys?
Bats. No
bats.
No, but I enjoyed that. The Cole Center was really nice.
It's a nice place. Yeah.
So yeah, it was the best thing was we avoided the bad weather both days and we made it back.
We both made a pact here before we got on that we were not going to complain about the weather, even though it's been 2 Fridays in a row, and maybe 3 tomorrow night. I see some schools already moving stuff up.
Are they? Tomorrow they are?
Yeah.
From tomorrow to today?
Tomorrow to today
really?
Or tonight. I saw Keota and English Valleys for one is going to do that. So
I don't know. I think they're just talking about an inch tonight, an inch tomorrow. Is that right?
As long as the ice stays away,
I think it's going to be manageable. I hope people just kind of let it play out this time and don't do anything drastic too early.
I wanted to thank Jonathan Carlson up at Decorah. I talked to him for a long time last night, about a half hour. They're 9-3. They've matched their win total from a season ago, and they're right there in the
Decorah?
Northeast Iowa Conference. Had just about everybody coming back. So from the team last year. Speaking
of the Northeast Iowa Conference, I've heard that Olwine, a charter member, I believe, of the Northeast Iowa Conference, was discussing the possibility of seeking enrollment into the NICL.
Better fit, enrollment-wise and all
Enrollment-wise, probably no. Competitively, probably yes.
What the heck would the NEIC do then? They'd be down to
6.
I guess that's manageable.
Well, I guess. Osage wouldn't be a bad fit. I've said for years that North Fayette Valley should be in that conference. I don't know. I don't know what they would do.
I'm trying to hold off here and signing off as long as I can, but still nothing from the Iowa High School Athletic Association about football. So,
they're watching this, and as soon as we're done, they're gonna send out a release.
All right, just got an email. Breaking news here. The meeting is done. Nothing decided on football. A few details on the discussion on what happened today will be sent out in a bit, but no decisions have been made. And it sounds like, this is from Chris Cuellar at the association, it sounds like they're setting up a special time in February to hack through all the football stuff, quote unquote. So there you go.
Okay.
Kicking the can a little bit down the road. So this
August isn't far away.
There must be some, I don't want to say contention.
Well, I'm sure there's some contention.
Yeah.
There's always some contention, but there's a lot of things they need to decide.
Yes.
And
some big decisions.
Yeah,
too.
and if they're gonna go, I don't think it's gonna happen this time. The socioeconomic thing, what kind of formula are you gonna put together?
Yes, exactly. So there you go. Nothing on football today, folks. Sorry about that. Sometime in February, I guess we will have to wait. We're all waiting here with bated breath, so to speak. So, By the way, I'll be at Kennedy tomorrow night, also Hall of Fame night. Kennedy and Jefferson, which I believe is a girl-boy doubleheader as well. So check us out at JT Linder on Twitter, at JEJE66 for myself, at Nathan T. Ford, our fine producer. What'd you think of Zion last night? I know you watched. Ooh, he says ooh.
And he also knows what transitive means.
He does. Oh, he went like this. So I guess if he develops a jump shot, he's going to be pretty good, huh?
He was 4 for 4 from 3 last night.
There you go. There you go. Hey, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed us calling it on both sides. Calling both sides. Call both ways.
Both ways.
Enjoy basketball the rest of the week. Also, but one real quick thing. 8 games now for the Wells Fargo Advisors Shootout a week from Saturday. Dubuque, Hempstead, and West Des Moines Dowling have been added to an already full day. So don't have times. They haven't been hashed out yet. But
it's going to be an early morning and a late night.
Yes. Next week we will talk more in depth about that. But that'll be at Cedar Rapids, Kennedy. The makeup from the snow a couple weeks ago. 8 games and some pretty good ones on tap. So for Jeff, this is Jeff. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.